Just always look at that one? All right. Do I start now? Do I go ahead and go? Okay. Uh, well, I'm going to tell a story kind of about life. About 4 years ago, I thought that I had a pretty promising career in government, intelligence, stuff like that, military, and then that went away, and I became very depressed and angry, and I didn't know what I was going to do because I was told my whole life, you have to have a career, get a job, blah, 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 blah. Didn't really have money to go to college, didn't really want to take out a student loan, so that's why I joined the military, but it got messed up, and I screwed up. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with my future, and I found myself in a horribly codependent relationship, spiraling out on drugs. And I realized one day that something was just wrong, and I wasn't happy, and I wasn't moving forward. And so one day I just left. I wrote a note to my girlfriend, packed up my car, and I left and got clean out in West Texas. Drove for 8.5 hours, and stayed there for a few months. Got 2 jobs, and when I wasn't working, I was picking up the guitar again, playing mandolin, and writing, a ton of writing. Being alone in the desert will do that to you. And I started to think about really what I wanted out of life, and because everything I had up to that point had just didn't work out. And I realized, I really wanted a sense of community. I wanted to create, and I wanted to be in an environment where I was encouraged to create. And so I got on Facebook, and I got in touch with some people I knew here that were involved in like activism and arts and stuff, and just kind of reached out to someone I barely knew, and I said, hey, I'm here in West Texas. I went through some trouble, but I want to come back to Houston, but I don't know anyone, that's healthy to be around. And they took a chance and let me come in and stay on their couch. I'm not going to mention names. And because we ended up having a falling out a few months later, but if it weren't for, that person saying, sure, come stay with me, I don't know what would have happened. But I came down here, and I was living with a bunch of anarchists, and I got a job at a really crappy bar on the south side of town, which is now closed. And I worked from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for nothing because we didn't really have any customers. And one day, I'd been talking to some old friends, telling them, I've changed. I'm not going through what I was going through anymore. And my good friend Matt came and visited me, and he was playing in this band. And we hung out at my job, and he asked me, hey, what are you doing when you get off? And I said, I have no plans, probably going home. And he invited me to go to the practice space to hang out with my friend Nick and my friend Matt, and who were all in a band together that I grew up with. And so I did, it was awesome. And I was there, and I was hanging out with them, and they were trying out this new drummer. And Nick turns to me and asks me, hey, John, do you still have that mandolin? And it just so happened I had it in my car. And I said, yeah, let me go get it. Do you want me to play it? And he said, sure. So I went and grabbed it and picked it up. And I was playing it with them, and it was awesome. And he asked me, would you like to do this with us? And I said, yeah. And then I had this thought, I should buy a banjo. I need to do that because this would be great. The next day, my tax return came in the mail, and I hadn't filed my taxes in 3 years because I was, I just did it all at once because my uncle is an accountant. He told me, if you file it within 3 years, you still get the refund. So I got a pretty nice refund, and I went and bought a banjo. And when I was trying to find one, I didn't know where to start. So I went to Guitar Center. All they had were $100 pieces of crap. No, I don't want that. I want something better. So I went to Rock and Robin. All they had were $1,700 awesome ones and then $100 pieces of crap. And I said, well, I want something I can afford. So then I had to be at work at a certain time, so I was driving, and I was trying to find Fuller's music because the guy at Rock and Robin had told me about it, and I had just moved back to town. I didn't really know where that was. And I couldn't find it because it's behind this sign. You can't really see the sign. And I was like, okay, man, I'm just going to go to work, screw it. But I'm going to stop here and get some gas and some cigarettes. And right when I pulled up to the gas station, a guy gets out of a truck wearing a Fuller's Music shirt. And I was like, hey, man, where is that place? And he points it out. Oh, it's hidden behind that building right there. And I walked in and I said, you know, hey, I need a banjo. And they were like, well, that's crazy. We just got a whole bunch of them in the back door today. Take your pick. So I picked a pretty nice one, and for 3 days, I'd never picked up a thing in my life. And I bought this book. I went to work for the next 3 days for 10-hour shifts at a shitty bar, and I just immersed myself in that. 10 hours a day, played it at work because I didn't have any customers, so what else am I going to do? I played my first show with Second Lovers, only been playing the banjo for 3 days. Even though I'd been a guitarist for a while, I think that's pretty incredible. But really, the point of the story is that I had no idea where I was going. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that something was wrong. And it wasn't until I made that first decision to reach out to somebody that I barely knew and ask them, will you help me? I need to make a change. That I did that. I should be dead. A lot of my friends are dead. I made it out because I made the change. And that's all it really takes. So anytime someone thinks that something's wrong, something probably is wrong, and you should make a change. And there's really nothing to fear. And I guess that's all I really have to say.
Thank you.
I don't think it went as well as I thought.